All right. Hello, guys. I am Shahnawaz, and in this lecture, I am going to talk about the malabsorption syndrome. Uh, I divided this lecture in three parts. I will talk just five names in each lecture. In first lecture, I talked about the introduction to malabsorption, then the digestion of different nutrients, how the uh, digestion and absorption of fats, proteins, and vitamins, and then the etiologies, signs and symptoms, and the diagnosis. I just put these things in last two lectures. Well, and first of all, we should know that what is the malabsorption. Actually, the malabsorption is the inadequate assimilation of dietary substances like fats, proteins, and vitamins. And when there is defects in the digestion, the enzymes of the GI are not properly secreted in the system, the absorption, when there is atrophic gastritis in the celiac diseases or other inflammatory diseases, inflammatory bowel diseases in the small intestine or large intestine, there is less absorption of nutrients in these cases. Then the transport, through the lymphatic, when the absorption done, then there is transport of nutrients from the GI to the circulatory system, mostly through the lymphatic system, and like the chylomicrons or these messages of the bile acids done through the bile acids. So when there is not chylomicrons, then there is no transport. So there is malabsorption. But we typically uh, take this absorption when there is defect in absorption, that is called the malabsorption. But maldigestions, like in when there is not properly digestions in the GI. Well, and this slide, like how the fats are digested, this is not proper. First, this line talks about the physiology, like the lipase splits the long chain triglycerides into fatty acids and the monoglycerides, and these pass through the jejunal enterocytes when they are absorbed or like mixed with the bile acids. Then this is the just overview of the fat digestions. But when we go to the physiopathology, we see that when there is bacterial overgrowth of the in the digestion system, we see that there is deconjugation and dehydroxylation of the bile salts, through which there is no proper digestion of the fats. And when there is unabsorbed bile salts, then they stimulate the water secretion in the colon that cause the diarrhea. So we see that the maldigestion of fats cause the diarrhea. And what do carbohydrates in the GI? They are digested through the amylase and other brush powder enzymes on macrovilli, and they are lysed into the monosaccharides. So when there is fermentation of the unabsorbed carbohydrates into different gases like carbon dioxide, methane, and hydrogen, we see that these gases cause the abdominal distension and the bloating. And these cause the clinical symptoms when there is malabsorption of carbohydrates. And other short chain fatty acids are also produced through the fermentation of the unabsorbed carbohydrates. We see that there is butyrate, propionate, and acetate that also cause the diarrhea when there is not well, there's not absorption of the carbohydrates. So how the proteins are digested in the GI. There is gastric pepsin that start the digestion of proteins in the stomach. And the enterokinase, this enzyme converts the trypsinogen into trypsin that acts on the pancreatic proteases. And when the pancreatic enzymes are activated, they hydrolyze proteins to oligopeptides. They are easily absorbed, like they directly absorbed or hydrolyzed into different amino acids, that there is easiness to absorb of the proteins through the amino acids. And this part is ended. Thank you, and I will record another lecture of this topic.